That is correct. Thank you very much. Taoiseach, you're very welcome to the House, and thank you for your congratulations of our return to Shannon, and congratulations to you and your party on your return to government. At the outset, the soundings from government and from all sides of government is we are now in a crisis and we stick together. We've done it before, we did it with Brexit and we did it very well. I'm delighted when you came to this House that you referred to all members of this House have an interest in making sure that we get through this and get through it together. So I would hope that we see the spirit of Brexit find itself coming through. And the lessons we learned from Brexit, particularly with the differentiation that exists now between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland with respect to differential tariffs, it is extremely important. And I'm delighted you've already been in contact with the First Minister, Deputy First Minister and Economy Minister. So that's really, really important. The soundings from Europe are about we're in this together. I hate to put in a notion of caution. We were in it together when the banking collapse came, but Ireland took the brunt of it. Now, Ireland is a very small, open economy in Europe. And at the end of the day, we have some very specific products that we trade. The whisky industry is one that comes to mind. Agricultural is another that comes to mind. I'm not that concerned that pharma is going to leave Ireland and go back to the United States. The lead time to set up a pharma plant is Donald Trump will be long gone by the time the first plant will be built. The educational groups that we have in places like Galway and Cork, specifically aimed at feeding the pharma industry, I don't see pharma as a huge problem. The one that would be of concern to me are the footloose industries, the ones that are here that lease a desk, a building and a computer, and they're up in business and running, so I would be concerned about those. I suppose the greatest concern I have is Ireland has had a phenomenal economic growth. As one who has lived through most of it, it has been phenomenal. And even in the worst of times, in the last 20 or 30 years, we continued to see economic growth. We continued to see government support business. The problem I see now is in the manufacturing sector. A lot of manufacturing now is operating on JIT systems where products or resources have to be delivered on time in order to keep manufacturing going. That may become a problem, and if it does become a problem, government has to be in a position to support those industries. We have to be in a position to where workers go on short time. We have to be able to support those workers. And I agree with what you said this morning. Let's not jump hoops before they're there. Let's take our time and take one step at a time. As a former trade union leader, I am concerned that in the event of a collapse or in the event of serious impact on the workforce, that the workforce will be expected to carry the can. There are an awful lot of people in this country who made an awful lot of money out of the huge success this economy has been. So let's make sure that everybody pays their load, if you want, or takes their part of the load as they carry it through. Trade wars are going to impact our economy, and insofar as that, prices are going to rise, inflationary pressures are going to come on board, and that is going to lead to my former colleagues looking for pay rises to meet inflation costs. I would urge you, Minister, to start negotiating now with trade unions. Let's get the trade unions in and let's get a combined approach as we move forward. Let's make sure that Ireland's competitiveness remains as it has been for the last 20 or 30 years. No worker wants to see a pay rise at the cost of competitiveness and see the industry ultimately closing. So let's work with the trade unions now. We have all of the economic people on side. I've listened to them on the radio this morning, IBEC, etc. They're all out there vying for their own sectors. Let's get the trade union movements in straight away. Sit down and talk and put together strategies as the economy takes the hit. And I know that listening to yourself and listening to the Taoiseach and Minister O'Donoghue, I know that there is a genuine concern there that we soften the blow as much as possible. We have the rainy day fund, but I'd hate to see the rainy day fund squandered on short-term solutions. I'm also anxious that we don't retaliate as Europe. I think there is an opportunity to negotiate out of this. And one of my colleagues just said there, American consumers, Joe O'Reilly just said, American consumers are going to be hit. And the pressure is going to come on from American consumers on the tariffs and how they're impacting their economy. Already the automotive industry in America is not very happy at what's happening. So as this series of tariffs kicks in, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where maybe Americans have become an awful lot less happy than we are, and that might impact the way things go. Short-term solutions, anybody who has ever studied economics will know that tariffs have a short-term boost, often leading to a very long-term series of pain. And I do hope that when Europe goes to negotiate with the United States, that Ireland is front and centre. We're one of the best negotiators in the world. If Trump is a transaction person, we're excellent at negotiation. Now, Minister, I want to turn briefly to the war in Ukraine. I have been a supporter of Europe's attitude and Europe's support for Ukraine. I have been a critic of Ireland's unwillingness to provide weapons that we could provide in order to help the Ukrainians to fight the Russian war. However, having said that, I am also a critic of the fact that steps taken by the Irish government to support Ukraine have never been debated in this House or the lower house. When we decided that we would set aside our attitude towards militarily being non-aligned, we were never neutral. I need to put that on the record here today. I always put it on the record. We should have debated it in the House of Parliament. That is what the Oireachtas is here for. And when we decide to move forward and to support Ukraine further, we need to come into the Parliament. The Parliament is a place well able to debate these things. And I do not believe there is any party or any group in the Parliament of this country that would be unwilling to support Ukraine. But we should do it in an open and transparent way with full debate. We had a debate here yesterday on a bill with respect to air navigation and transport, arms embargo. I was alone. Government did not oppose the bill. I was alone in opposing that bill. And I opposed it because we could not action the bill if we passed it. Simply unable to get up to 35,000 feet and find out who's carrying what where. So we need to be realistic in what we're doing. When we talk about the war in the Middle East, and when we talk about Israel and their brutal, and I mean absolute brutal response to Hamas, we need to be aware of the fact that Hamas themselves were brutal. Oops, I'm going over time. So I leave that and we might discuss that at a later date.